Hello guys, this is DHSUs and welcome back to my channel. This is my review of Spyfall Part 2. Last Wednesday I did Spyfall Part 1, so you should go and check that out. This Sunday we're doing Spyfall Part 2. Now I recorded this video before and I sat there and kind of went, do you know what, I'm not quite sure if I agree with this now. I sat there and was very critical of the episode, talked about a lot of the stuff I didn't like, some of it I still don't like, and some I felt like I was just being too harsh about, and I think it was kind of silly. They weren't really criticisms, they were just me trying to come up with criticisms to why I didn't think the episode was, like, beyond my expectations. I'm also going to make a personal point to wear this jacket every week because I just really like the jacket. First thing is I felt like the episode tied itself up really nicely. I think that there were no plot holes, and that's something that I was really concerned about, is there being something that was either left out in the plot or something that was wrong, and so obviously wrong that they kind of just went, yeah, just ignore that. We just wanted a complete story that made sense, and it did, so good. I liked the companion side to this episode, so we had the part A and the part B. I'll get to the part B in a sec. I felt like the companion side to this episode was really good and really strong. I think that we have a nice dynamic between the three companions now. As much as Yaz hasn't had her full arc yet, she's getting her family kind of put into the episode more, which I think gives her a nice, like, home bird kind of thing that means that she wants to be there, and they can always use her family as kind of like the audience, the human race kind of card, you know. If the world is in danger, this is what Yaz's family are doing, you know, because that's how they show, like, scope. I think all the acting that they were doing was a great job as well, and I think that their story was interesting enough. Their kind of like on the run idea was pretty cool as well. On the other side we have Jodie Whittaker and her doctor's story section of the episode, which I felt was kind of the weaker out of the two. I felt like, compared that this was a direct sequel to the first part, I felt like the second part was kind of deviated from the whole, like, part one was very focused. This second part was not, and especially in the terms of the Doctor's side. I think that the introduction of these new characters, to me, for most of the episode, I was sitting there going, wait, why are they introducing more people? But it kind of made sense in the long run, so, you know, I was mistaken. I quite liked the whole, like, the Master being, you know, a Nazi, and the Doctor being the Doctor, and them kind of chasing each other, which is a kind of what we got, but it wasn't done in a very, like, climactic way, action-packed way, I mean. There was a few scenes when I sit there and I'm like, these two are doing so great. Sacha Dhawan and Jodie Whittaker are doing a brilliant job with their performances during this episode. Did I just say, oh, they're doing so great? I would have loved to have seen a little bit more, you know, action, a bit more conversation between the Doctor and the Master, because that's really strong. I felt like the Master was good in any scene that he was in. You know, that scene when he walks in and starts, you know, shrinking people, it's very Master-like and it's very cool. I liked how this episode affected the entire world. It wasn't just like a small thing, but I do feel like they missed a bit of a chance to stick in, like, people in the street on their phones, they're walking through the street and then they kind of get zapped. That would be a pretty cool thing to add. But overall, I think the social commentary sort of thing of, like, you sign away your life, you're signing, you know, you're agreeing to this and that and the other, and you don't really know what you're getting yourself in for, is, you know, I don't think many people, I really haven't, to be honest, I've never really looked in-depthly at the terms and conditions of anything before, that I think it would be very easy to basically to get scammed. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. So, you know, you just sign away your life by clicking agree. Your phones, you know, you can easily record your phones, you know, like, I can turn on the Audacity on my laptop whenever I want to, but who says that someone else can't turn on my voice memos, open my microphone up, all that kind of stuff whenever they want to? And it's a very cool kind of idea that I think in our modern society we do sit there and think, are our phones actually safe? But we put it in the back of our minds thinking, oh yeah, of course they are, because, you know, why would they lie to us? And this plays on that idea, which is something that I really liked. And I felt like the last few minutes, you know, that last 15 minutes, which is kind of strange in terms of pacing, because why would they spend 45 minutes developing this, like, very slow-paced story to then bring it back up for the last 15 to, you know, pull out all the stops and say, look, oh, look, the entire world's getting invaded. I think Lenny Henry's doing Sir Lenny Henry, in fact, is doing a really good job during this episode as well. His character has an actual, like, motivation and an arc, which is quite nice. Well, not an arc, but it has a motivation, which I quite like. The fact that we see him, you know, kill his own mother to an extent, I think is pretty good. And the fact that all he wanted was like that sort of like appreciation from his mum to say, you know, well done, is something that I think made a good motivation to prove why he's such an odd man. But we don't really see what his comeuppance is, which I think is rather disappointing. Well, I don't think we did. I might have made a mistake there. And he's also like a Bond villain, so it kind of relates to that theme. A lot of people didn't really like the theme, but I thought the theme was pretty decent, and it wasn't overused. I think it was a little bit more overused in this episode. Graham's magical feet is what I've written down on the paper behind me. I think that the idea that we just see Graham like stomping his feet, like dancing, would make a funny joke, but the fact that he uses it a couple of times during the episode, it looks kind of daft. I'm sorry, it just does. So I didn't like Graham's feet trick, and I didn't like the pacing of the episode. I felt like the first 45 minutes, well, some of this time was not really needed. It maybe making the episode 45 minutes instead of an hour would have played more to its strength. But overall, I think it was a pretty decent story. I think that altogether, part 1 and part 2 gave us a pretty good, maybe one of the best Chibnall stories. Actually, it is the best Chibnall story. I think that all of the characters get enough time to, you know, fully develop because of their extended runtime. I think that the Master and his version of the Master is really, really good. I think Saoirse Dewan is doing a brilliant job as well playing that character. Jodie Whittaker is definitely more into the role this time and doing a lot better as it. We have new series arcs set up which are going to be brilliant, I hope, fingers crossed. Hopefully they're going to be good. You know, the Gallifrey thing is something that I really like. I just hope that this whole thing is just a series thing and not like one that Chibnall will try and do throughout all of his run. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you so much for all of the new like support I've had over the last few days since Doctor Who's been on the air. I need to stop speaking because I've spoken too much that I've actually lost the ability to bring out proper words without slowing down. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a like. Come back during the week. I will be doing my What We Know So Far video, talk about theories about Doctor Who, and we have all that stuff about the Timeless Child to talk about. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you soon. Goodbye.